This video is on the topic of the algebra of functions, or performing operations on functions. So the idea is we can add, subtract, multiply, and divide functions together. And one of the biggest problems in this one is notation. So what I've done here is wrote 3 different ways that you might see the same thing. So each one of these things on the top here, the f plus g with the x out there, f of x plus g of x, and just f plus g, all mean the same thing. All of these in this first row are telling you to add the f function and the g function together. Now this one is function notation. What it's saying is that you're adding f and g, and both of them are functions of x. So this is just like function notation before. So it's just like this right here where we say it's f of x, and this describes how you find the function dependent upon x. Same thing here. This is saying you're adding f and g together, which are 2 functions, and both of them are a function of x. So you can see with this notation, it's very natural to write like this, and it means the same thing as it does up here when I say f of 2. You know that means 3 times 2 minus 4, which is 6 minus 4 is 2, right? So the same thing down here. This just means add f and g together, but plug a 2 in for x. Okay, now this notation is just f of x plus g of x. That's pretty straightforward. It's saying to take the f function, which is that guy right there, and add it to the g function, which is that guy right there. Okay, so in both of these, again, they're asking to do the same thing. And this is a notation that XYZ uses in at least one of its problems, which I don't like, because here it's not making it clear that you're using function notation. And then later they throw a question like this down here, and then they expect you to understand they are using function notation. So this does not mean f plus g times 2. This means you're adding the f function plus the g function, and they're both a function of x, and we're plugging in 2 for x. That's what that means. This means I'm just adding f and g together, but I'm leaving x as x. So all of these on the top would end up being 3x minus 4 plus x squared plus 2. That's what all of these are equal to. And of course, I would simplify that, and I would get x squared plus 3x minus 2, because the negative 4 and the 2 are like terms I can add them together. Likewise, down here, all of these mean the same thing as we just did up there, only replacing a 2 with an x. So this would be 2 squared plus 3 times 2 minus 2. And that would be 4 plus 6 minus 2, which is 8. Okay? So in this case, obviously I'm plugging in 2 for x, so I'm looking for a number as my answer. I'm going to simplify it down to it's just one number. Here, because we're leaving x as x, we end up having an expression when we're done that describes how to find the y value. And so basically what we're doing up here is building a new function, and we build it by adding 2 old functions together. So we've taken this function, the f function, and the g function, add them together to get a new function. Okay. Now, back down here, notice I just plugged 2 into that one up there because I'd already add f and g together. But let's say I didn't add f and g together. I could do it this way, where I just go f of 2 plus g of 2, and I should get the same answer. Of course, f of 2 is 3 times 2 minus 4. And g of 2 is 2 squared plus 2. And that would be 6 minus 4, which is 2. 4 plus 2 is 6. And sure enough, I get 8 again. Get the same answer. Okay, so that's operation of functions. And we can do all kinds of things like, let's go back over so I can see the f and g. I could do f minus g of x, and that would mean that I take the f function, which is 3x minus 4, and I subtract from it. Now you got to be careful with subtraction, because I'm subtracting all of g of x. So that means I'm subtracting all of g of x. So it's probably safe to put in parentheses, or if you want to, you can just distribute the minus sign right away, because what you're really doing is going 3x minus 4 minus x squared minus 2. Because you're subtracting all of gx, that means the x squared is being subtracted and the 2 is being subtracted. So then I end up with negative x squared plus 3x minus 6. So this would be the result when I subtract g from f. And I could go the other way too, g minus f of x. So that means I'm going to do x squared plus 4, and I'm going to subtract f this time. So that means I'm subtracting 3x minus 4. So if I distribute that negative sign, that'd be x squared plus 4 minus 3x plus 4. And that, of course, gives me x squared minus 3x plus 8. And we can also do g times f of x. So that would be, or let's do it times h, just because I haven't used h yet. He's feeling left out. So if you remember, g was x squared plus 2. So that'd be x squared plus 2. And then h would be square root of x plus 4. And so then we'd simplify that, and we'd get x squared times the square root of x plus 4 plus 2 times the square root of x plus 4. And since these are not like terms, we can't add them together, so it's as best we could do. And let's do g times f of 2. Okay, so I can think of that one of two ways. I can find the formula first and then sub 2 in for x, or I could just find g of 2 and multiply the result by f of 2. So if I go back up here, g of 2 would be, well, what is that? G of 2 would be 2 squared, which would be 4 plus 2. That would be 6. So g of 2 is 6. And f of 2, if we go back over here to f, that would be 3 times 2 is 6, minus 4 is 2. So that would be 2. And my answer would be 12. Now, notice again, in theory, I should get the same answer if I do g times f of 2 first. I'm sorry, g times f of x first, and then plug 2 in later. So let's try that. So g of 2 was, it was x squared plus 2, right? And f of x, was 3x minus 4. Oops. So in this case, I have a binomial times a binomial, so I have to multiply, I have to distribute. So x squared times 3x, that'd be 3x cubed. X squared times negative 4, that'd be negative 4x squared. 2 times 3x, that'd be positive 6x. And 2 times negative 4 would be negative 8. So then if I wanted to find g times f of 2, I could just plug 2 in everywhere I see an x. And hopefully I should get 12, right? So that'd be 3 times 8 is 24. Minus 4 times 4 is 16. Plus 12 minus 8. And then that would be, that gives me 12, doesn't it? Because this 24 minus 16 minus 8 would be 0, and I left with a 12. So that's the operations of functions, or the algebra of functions. And there's a worksheet that you could, that I'll probably run through here in a little bit and post a video of it. But you should be able, if you understand domain and range and how to identify a function and this, you should be able to do all of homework 8 now.